one community, 3 tiers, 44 teams, and nearly 200 matches played. It's all led to this. Welcome to the playoffs, where the pretenders get eliminated, no second chances are given, and only the strong will survive. We'll see dominant performances, we'll see rivals clash, and we'll see shocking upsets. Players and teams of all skill levels have practiced for months to get here, giving it everything they have, but at the end of the day, only one will achieve: tranquility.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Overwatch Tranquility. It's Discord semifinals night, and you know how much I love playoffs around here. Tonight, bringing all the action at you. It's me. I am, of course, Dor, yours truly. I am joined by the always amazing Captain Jack, and boy, oh boy, we have a matchup on our hands. How you feeling about this one?
Well, I have to say, Dor, I was feeling super
Look, I know
excited
you
being able
promised
to.
the ASMR Jack thing. I can't stand it for more than like 3
You can,
seconds, man. I need
okay,
hype. I
I'm
need
so
hype.
sorry because if you would have
Semifinals.
given me just a second, I would have got hyped because this is a comeback once again. We are seeing the matchup between these two amazing teams, Kalibur and Tailwind. This is the third time this season that they have faced off against one another this evening. Both of them in their previous matches have taken one victory over the other. So tonight is going to be an unprecedented semifinals match between this first seed and fifth seed holders.
I mean, not only is this the best of 3 final that we needed between these two teams, but fun
Hmm.
fact for you, Tailwind, the only team in Discord to take a game off of Caliber. If there is any team that's going to be able to do it, it has to be these guys. And with the given meta right about now, what do you think we're going to be looking at? And who do you think it's going to be heading towards right here?
Well, there's so many different directions that it could end up going. Our first map of the evening is going to be Nepal, so you have so many different compositions that you could use. I mean, we are working completely unrestricted. There are no hero bans in the pool for this evening, so they could go with the OG double shield to be able to use some protective measures on the objective. We could end up seeing some dive. I know in some previous matches, Tailwind been trying to bring out the dive and has been somewhat successful. It's kind of a give and take depending on how well they dive into the objective and who they end up picking off first or if they get picked off. So I feel like it's really anybody's game this evening. Looking back at their previous scores, they literally lost each match by one. Tailwind losing to Caliber the first time, or sorry, Tailwind winning against Caliber the first time around 1-2, and then Caliber bringing it back 3 weeks later to win 3-2. So it's really anyone's game. I'm really interested to see what these two teams have to put on the line this evening.
And we'll kind of go back to that realm of hero pools and what's going on, right? Having no pool is effectively a pool in and of itself. And I don't know if anybody got to watch Korean Contenders last night or this morning, whatever time it may have been for you, but there were some spicy compositions being run. I am totally going off memory here. Don't hang me if I'm wrong or whatever. But it was like Sombra, Echo, Winston, Sigma, some really, really jank stuff. And I think that just goes to show how variable this meta is, and not to mention variability, but also how reliant it is on just playing things you're comfortable in. Because there's not all that much time to practice with specific compositions, it really can come down to, are you just good at this hero? Do you have a team that's set up well to play this kind of composition? How much do you rely on individual skill versus team just ability to commit and ability to actually pull off a certain strategy? That really goes to show on a lot of these maps. Control is one, though, that I tend to see go more towards the chaotic side and favor those teams that have the individual plays, favor those teams that want to get into scrappy fights, because lately it's all been either Symmetra strategies or dive, because you can just come back and contest that point all the way until it hits 99%. It's high risk, high reward, but these teams seem to love playing it.
No, I completely agree with you there. And like you said, just having an open pool is a meta in of itself. We could see so many different compositions. One that we've been seeing in the most recent of weeks is the one that we can't mention, but it involves a big old pig and a giant ball. And so whether or not it's been
Were we
effective or not from map to map.
Were we reprimanded for that last time? I don't know if we were.
I don't know, but I'm just going to steer clear of it.
He's probably in chat. We got to be careful. All
But
right,
it is going to be interesting to see how these teams come out victorious. As we get ready to start off, let's go ahead and get into our starting lineups for the evening. Kalibur going to be coming in with Normac and Bray coming in on the tanks, Mini and J-Vice on the DPS, and Monka and Catatrix coming in on the supports. For Tailwind, we have Aurora and Sway Lee coming in on the tanks, Poggers and Suli coming in on the DPS, and Ives and Truth coming in on the supports.
I mean, there's a big name here we can't be ignoring, and that's gotta be Sway Lee. He has been on one of the biggest tears that we have seen in all of Tranquility in a long time. He has run over Reinhardt after Reinhardt after Reinhardt, and his team is comfortable playing behind him. Be ready to see some extremely high-level tank play inside of this match. There's a lot of really great stuff to be seen as well. The way that these tanks all play around one another, super duper great to watch. And I think a lot of this is going to fall on DPS now, right? It's kind of this unsung rule that the tanks are going to be the center of your comp, but when both teams are so strong, there's really only, or so strong on that front, there's really only going to be one thing that tips those scales, and you're looking for really big DPS plays.
No, I concur with that. And it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams fight against one another in that stance. We've seen so many different dual DPS compositions coming out, especially with the addition of Echo, can essentially put any hero that's on the field in double or triplicate on the field at a single time. And it really throws off the entire balance. As we go ahead and head into Nepal, we're going to be starting off in the Sanctum, which is definitely going to be putting us in an interesting position because it's all about boops for control of this objective. If you can just keep throwing people off that side edge or even picking them off before they're able to get to that center point, you're going to be sitting incredibly pretty to grab this objective and maintain control. The biggest part is going to be who can grab control first and whether or not the boops will come in hot.
I mean, the name of the game here is going to be just control. A lot of the time we see dive run, a lot of the time we'll see teams really try and just maintain this point for a really long time. But with the teams loading on their compositions, what on earth do you think Tailwind are looking to do?
I think the biggest issue that they may be running into is just not having enough turrets, apparently, because Tailwind is opting into the Torb as well as what we see coming out from the side of Kalibur as well. It's going to be a Poggers versus J-Vice show on and off this objective right now.
Really, really hard to describe what Tailwind are going to want to do, but they want to dive and bunker at the same time. Use that distraction, but it's clearly not working. J-Vice and his turret buddy already going down here. Quick fight, one for Kalibur, and Tailwind look like they just want to back out and maybe try and find a little bit of value somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not really the positioning that you want on a map like this. Like, yeah, running the ball might be good if you're trying to get the boops on the objective, as we now see Kalibur take control. But if you're going to set up a turret, you really kind of need that double shield. That original shield isn't going to stay up for long, which means that turret is going to be soon to follow.
Absolutely not. Now we do have this Reinhardt composition effectively wanting to set up in two little compositions in and of themselves, and that's splitting up Tailwind's aggression so well. You see the Ashe over here alongside the Sigma. You see the Reinhardt on point acting as a brawl and acting as just pure point presence. The ball can't really dislocate this Reinhardt at all.
And that's going to be the biggest issue right there. I mean, Ryan has a lot of weight keeping him on that objective. Like, even with Lucio Boops and the recent nerf that he got probably about a month or so ago, he still is very difficult to move off that objective. So I would suggest probably swapping over to maybe a Hog if you really want to pull them off that objective.
Well, Tailwind seem really insistent on this bunk combination. They throw the nano down on top of Normac. Dives into the point, but can't find all that much damage. They do manage to get one pick down on a Truth. The second one on a Sway Lee here would be massive. The Bob's out, though, dealing a ton of damage just to the shields, creating so much pressure, taking a lot of the weight off of Sway Lee now. Now he has control back over the point. The Gravitic Flux comes up, puts everybody on the ground. That's going to be another fight over to Kalibur. Tailwind sitting in the corner, just taking so much damage.
Yeah, this is really a one-sided fight right here. With the double shield that they've got set up, they not only have control of the objective, but they have control of the high ground as well. There's literally nothing that Tailwind can move into to try to be successful on this objective without getting brawly.
Oh my god, Truth came so close to the boop of his life there, but now, finally, we see Tailwind at an advantage here, pushing on the point. They do have that Torbjorn difference, but Aurora managed to find the main tank, and that is a massive boon to the success of Tailwind. They're going to struggle to push onto this point. They've taken on the Reinhardt, though. They finally have some sort of say over how this is going to go. That secondary composition, the one with the Sigma on the side that we already talked about, they need to come over. They need to apply some point presence, but Poggers can't move in on the turret. It's going to tick over. Normac does it on his own here. Now it's Kalibur's turn to play a little bit of attack.
That is true. We apologize. We swapped the teams right before the match started right there. So Tailwind has really been showing to be incredibly strong here.
I can't believe
but now
you.
with the Bob.
You're playing me. It's all right. Let's keep it going here. Now Tailwind, they get to push onto the point.
All right, and that Bob's exactly what they needed right there. Ended up grabbing control of the objective after getting the pick onto Normac right there. With no one else on it, you know, Bob just secured the objective pretty much on their own. And Tailwind's going to take the lead in this series.
And that's exactly what we want to see. They play their composition well. They were very smart about how they play the split composition. This map, though, is very different. We've seen it go one of two ways in recent time. It's been that May Reaper, the classic, nothing much changes with it, or you play full-on poke, you play full-on AoE damage, run a Hanzo, run a Junkrat, run a Pharah, just chuck damage into this point, and the only objective of that composition is to beat down on the opposing, but it looks like both these teams going to be opting for the Symmetra. It operates pretty much under the same functionality as the Reaper, so it's all about who gets there first now.
All right, well, the teleporter's already coming out. It looks like Mini and Soli going to swap over to the Reaper instead, just using that sim to get to the objective just a little bit faster. The question is going to be who can eat up more damage, and I got to give it to Aurora coming in on the Diva. Unless Bray can get supercharged and stay charged enough to get some picks, it's going to be really hard to keep that damage off the objective.
Yeah, Bray has to apply so much pressure on this Zarya. Now it's a matter of actually getting in there. The wall comes up, but it's cut of only 4 people. Practically an entire team at this point that Kalibur need to push through, and they absolutely cannot, standing there stout as a wall or Tailwind, but finally, the cracks are starting to emerge. Poggers and Sway Lee taking down the backbone of the team gone, and we're going to see this point tick over to Kalibur.
And that was definitely one of the hardest fights to win right there. Trying to back out of the objective to just give yourselves a little room to breathe. And immediately J-Vice comes with the May wall to prevent them from going anywhere other than staying on that objective. There was just so much damage coming in. There was nothing that they could do to prevent just the overall slaughter that was coming in for that first point. But again, that was just the first fight. Let's see if they can take it back.
I mean, the biggest thing we're going to be watching here is the timing on Bray's Graviton Surge. If he can get it up in time, it will be a massive help to their success so far. Shatter down, doesn't find anybody. Now Bray trying to connect. Graviton Surge picks up practically everybody here. Ice block, body block, be damn, this damage still comes through, and it is Tailwind members falling left and right over this point.
And you have to give it to Bray right there. Even with the missed shatter, that graviton was huge. J-Vice just gets in the middle of it. Everyone that's in that grab gets immediately frozen down, or at least slowed down, so that they have a hard time protecting themselves, and then it's just easy pickings from there.
Although we do see Kalibur with another great chance to defend this. Truth has to have a perfectly timed sound barrier if they want to win this fight. Blizzard down on top of the point, disengaging now. Tailwind trying to bide their time, but the sound barrier used. They need to use this to engage, or else they're going to be a serious disadvantage when Katie drops theirs. Swaley making the way. The shatter is huge! Five to Blizzard on top. Insult to injury. Tailwind come up big, and that's why that is your Discord tier MVP.
Oh man, that was the fattest shatter right there. Swaley just waiting for that perfect timing for Normac Shield to go down, whether it be with the swing or a break, just absolutely getting it in there. That's why objectives are so hard when you're trying to defend against the Rhine shatter. You never know when it's going to come down and how many it's going to hit.
Kalibur still have ultimate, though. The Death Blossom for Mini! The defense matrix is not going to be lasting quite long enough to beat the whole thing. He finds himself a nice set of kills. 3 up. Kalibur look to retake this point. Oh my god! Solely though!
Nope, it's not going to be enough. Solely with that double kill right there, as we see J-Vice just taking the objective on their own. Unfortunately, after the Blossom that came out from Solely, they just didn't have the numbers to push back in, but maybe with this quick regroup, they might be able to pull it off.
Well, Tailwind have a certain chance right now. The shatter dropped on point, doesn't find much, but Normac now coming through alongside the Blizzard, almost going to guarantee a point here for Kalibur. So hard to counter that. One member alive. Solely doesn't have that Death Blossom anymore. As overtime takes over, we're going to see this score evened up.
Ooh, it looks like Kalibur was just getting warmed up on that first map, and sometimes that's a difficult one to play in through either Ilios Well or Sanctum here on Nepal. Sometimes it's difficult if you're not used to fighting on the objective that has that boop off of the side. You get a little self-conscious. Don't want to find yourself falling into the bottomless abyss off the objective. So now they're all warmed up. It is a 1-1 right now, heading into Shrine, and it looks like we're going to be seeing the same comps that we saw the first time around, solely opting for the McCree this time. So let's see if that changes things up against Mini's Reaper.
Well, the big question, yeah, Mini's going to swap back over to the Reaper here, or back on to the same composition that we got to see last round. You know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. They do find one shield down, or pardon me, the wall comes in on the point. Normac goes down, and now Tailwind have a lot of free space to push through without a main tank in their way. They were completely unfaltering moving through this.
All right, and it looks like, oh, that was bad timing on the Maywall there from J-Vice. Actually ended up blocking in 2 members of their team right there because of the wall that came up from Poggers. Just absolutely allowed them to decimate them, take the objective right there. It's really working out for Tailwind right now, but as the regroup comes in, it's going to start being a battle of the cubes.
Yeah, now pushing in. Tailwind have a few ultimates to try and deter them. Starting off the coalescence here from both sides. The wall keeps them away from the point, but there's a couple members walled off. Normac trying to make his way up, but so much stands in his way. The battle of attrition here on point as the first team to lose members at such a disadvantage. Swaley tries for the shatter, can't find a good block by Normac, but now it's a graviton, no block in that one, but Solely with some great peel here, using the Deadeye to make sure they can't move in. On top of that is so massive, buys them the space they need. The re-engagement comes out, and Kalibur gonna be forced off this point yet again.
That was so rough right there. Swaley would have had the greatest opportunity for a shatter, but Poggers was literally milliseconds off of finishing the freeze on Normac right there so that the shield would fall. But yes, that Deadeye was beautiful. The stalling tactic to keep them off. I don't think the Diva Bomb investment was huge right there. Maybe holding on to that for this one as we now see the Blizzard coming in.
Oh god, a lot of freeze going everywhere. It's a winter wonderland right about now, but Kalibur look like the only people who are enjoying themselves in springtime. Normac now has a shatter loaded up. Does he need to use it is the question. Doesn't look like it. Death Blossom dropped here.
And
Matrix is just so strong. Kalibur come through, though, regardless. Going to take this point over for themselves.
Ooh, truth. Using the Lucio to invest just a little bit extra percentage on the point is definitely a good way to go. You never want to end up not feeding into the objective if you still have control. The closer you can get that percentage to 100, the better it is for you. And Truth was holding on to that truth as they ran around that objective.
All right, now we're going to see Tailwind try and recontest for the win here, but a Graviton Surge looks to shut him down immediately. No eat on it means no value. Sway Lee gets a good shatter, though. Can't peel away all that damage. Coalescence through alongside the Fire Strike. Just too much, but a lot committed there from Kalibur.
Yeah, that was a lot of Qs invested into that fight. The Shatter came in, and I'm not for certain if they were hoping to use the Coalescence just to make sure that everyone stayed up while they fighted their way in or whatnot. But, they only used 2 of the 4 of the 2 that they now have online available. They got the beat, they got the Shatter. Sway Lee just couldn't get away from that Graviton to really invest on the Shatter that came in, but it was fat. We might see another one here pretty soon.
Normac from the back! 9-3! You want to talk about big shatters? This man's putting up consistent numbers right about now. Kalibur find themselves another fight, and all of a sudden, we're staring at a really even game.
And I feel like this is what we've seen time and again between these two teams. It's just incredibly back and forth. The scores are back and forth, and this just proves it, folks. We are heading into final fight territory right now. We've got Blizzards online, Deadeyes, Blossoms. Everything is on the mark as they head in for their final fight.
Now the biggest thing here, how much does that defense matrix stop Mini's ultimate, and which team gets the better sound barrier off? Keep an eye on Catatrix and Truth here as they make their way onto point. Whoever can hold it the longest is going to be taking away this fight. Dropping onto point now, waiting for the right time to use that Blizzard, but he dies mid-cast! Sound barriers at the same time, Deadeye's out! No value found, good defense matrix. Now it's time for that last ultimate we talked about. Death Blossom finds no value. Coalescence and Blizzard drop, then each team drops one member. Bomb over, could be dangerous, but no, absolutely not, say Kalibur. Peeling their way back off the point. They've got a Graviton Surge in tow, but not enough damage to capitalize on it here. It's back and forth over this point, but finally grinding it out, our Kalibur.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible right there. I almost thought with the loss of J Vice's Blizzard right there that they were going to have a hard time continuing to hold on to that objective, but just continuing to feed into Normac and Bray, keeping them up so that they can keep swinging and blowing them away. Bray taking away a lot of the credit right here with those huge charged Zarya bombs into the Graviton. Just absolutely beautiful play of the game right there. But again, Tailwind did not do bad at all during that entire match. It just happened to be that Kalibur had 1 or 2 plays that just ended up being a little bit better than Tailwind, but you never know. We might see them come back in the next map.
I mean, okay, we'll talk about the next map in a moment, right? When we get the map pick through. But boy, is this match delivering. Holy God, we were talking about it beforehand. We're like, yeah, this is going to be a good one. I can't wait to cast this. I'm so glad I'm going to get to see this one because, they've seen each other. They've had a little bit of play time. They know what each other can do. But my God, there is absolutely no taking the foot off the gas pedal. Each of these guys are just going at each other, massive ultimates left and right. And that final fight was one of the most beautiful displays of Overwatch I have seen in Tranquility in a while. And I think the biggest thing is just the fact that nobody died. How many ultimates did we see? We saw Blizzards, Shatters, we saw Death Blossoms, we saw Sound Barriers used all at the perfect time. And that fight just turned into a brawl by the end of it. That's what I want to see for the rest of these games. Here we're heading into Hanamura. Even more ultimates are going to be mattering because you got to take over these points ASAP. You got to be snowballing and you got to be winning fights clean. And how do you think these teams are going to approach doing that, Jack?
Well, I think one of the things is just making sure you're using your ultimates at the right time or making sure they're in the right place. I love Aurora's Diva that I've been seeing so far, but those bombs have either been going too high or too far. They're just not getting the value that they need to either keep them off the objective or to get the kills that they need when ultimates like the Blizzard and whatnot come down to just stun people out. So I'd really love to see Aurora's bomb placement just a little bit better. But really, I think it's just coming down to nickels and dimes here, folks. The teams are playing incredibly well in either way. And even as we're looking at this map, although it is not completely defined that this is what we're going to be seeing from our attacking spawn Kalibur, we could be seeing this double shield comp come out once again for either side. It looks like Bray gonna opt onto that Zarya again. They're not going to end up it doesn't look like they're going to use the symmetric teleporter, but I mean, anything could change here in the next 15 seconds. Definitely would be a good strat to use, but I'm intrigued in where Tailwind is setting up for the defense.
Well, as they take this high ground, the biggest thing they need to be careful of is making sure Eves and Truth don't go down early here, right? Running the Ana Zenyatta, the main reason that it's not run is because it's so susceptible. It dies so easily. If they can stay alive, if they can get value, that is massive, and we'll see Tailwind succeed. If they can't do that, if they can't keep their supports up, though, they're going to be in for a world of hurt here as Kalibur look like they are ready to brawl. Cthulhu holding on the strong, though, to the high ground. Oh my god, the dynamite, the anti-nade, the fire strike, all the damage in the world shoved right into the face of Kalibur there.
Truth was laying it down thick right there. That was probably one of the most beautiful anti-nades I've ever seen. Got at least 5 of the 6 members of the team, and then the dynamite to follow coming in from Soli just ended up cleaning everything up, doing that just amount of damage that you literally had to go in and blow on Kalibur just to be able to take them out of that fight. But now Brace swapping over to the D.Va to see if they can eat up some of that damage, eat up those anti-nades. It looks like that Fire Strike is going to be the first one to go.
And now we see Kalibur push through, separated away from their D.Va. They're trying to wrap all the way around, and ironically, I feel like I've seen Bray eat everything but the anti-nade and the dynamite here. I'd love to see him try and shut down that play because it's going to be dealing so much damage to his team here. They look to push in. Normac has point control. The Zenyatta, though, the Discord, the anti-nades, it's all starting to add up here for Kalibur. They just need to hold on here, just get over those ticks, but Swaley's doing such a good job of denying value, dancing around this point, staying on the edges and making sure they're getting as little percentage as humanly possible here. Wall up on point, heading for that second tick right now. Tailwind need to start thinking about how they're going to contest this, and it's a Bob on point that's going to be doing it. Nano Sway Lee in the front line in this fight, all of a sudden looking to turn right on the other way.
And that's really unfortunate, the direction they ended up booping that Bob. And they're going, as you see them go for the complete hard reset right there. The Bob was right against the bell, and if they would have just kept the Bob right there, it would have been perfect. Like, the Bob only has a certain number of angles that it can get at, and if something's in its way, it can't move. But booping it out of the objective gave it such a larger line of sight. It was able to do a whole lot more damage than it would have done otherwise, and it's going to allow them to continue to hold this objective.
Kalibur again, though, they eat a massive dynamite here. Oh my lord, the shatter, the grab. What can't I say here? Every hero hits abilities, and Tailwind again are going to be coming out on top.
Oh man, and that's why Eves is on that Zenyatta. The save of the day right there. The huge shatter in from Swaley right there, but then the Blizzard came out from J-Vice, and Ives just completely negated any kind of damage that could have ended up coming out on their team, even saving Swaley after getting tackled by Normac right there at the end of that Transcendence. It is the biggest life-saving ult in this game.
That it is. However, there's going to be a Blizzard and a Bob, 2 of the better offensive ultimates in this game here. As Walls come up on the point, Tailwind look to aggress, not give away either of those last 2 remaining ticks. Deadeye trying to peel. Kalibur going to be getting around a tick off this possibly. No, Soli finds his head again. The dynamite is huge from the high ground. He dishes out damage nearly all the way back to another Bob at 60%. My God, have you no mercy?
Solely on that Ashe is a force to be reckoned with. If you didn't know already, you throw Bob and you immediately start charging that ultimate again. She is one of the fastest climbing ults because of that ability to do so. And now with only 10 seconds on the clock, they have got to touch.
For 3. They break the wall. They push in. Dynamite eaten again, but a blizzard on point looks to end it all. Bob on top of that. They do have a sound barrier. Kalibur trying to peel their way up. They can do this, but not with Sully in the way. Bob at the backside. The perfect partner for a Western gal coming in just in time.
And that is all she wrote right there, folks. I don't think anybody is going to be able to touch with that team kill ringing loud and proud. 61.8% for the side of Kalibur, not being able to grab that objective. Tailwind has really got those jets of air under their wings. They might soar away with this victory pretty easily.
They're still back a map, though. If they win this, it only sets them even. Kalibur, they can full hold this. I feel like a lot of that victory there, a lot of that hold was predicated on the success of Soli alongside his honor. The anti-nades and the dynamites were by far the two biggest predicators of who came away with that round. Now, though, Kalibur get a chance to throw a wrench into the mix, get to decide how this wants to be played, and Tailwind have to offer up the best thing they have. However, you can expect a little bit of cheese as they only need 1.5 ticks.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely going to be a little back and forth right here. J-Vice opting to go on to the Torb, and, you know, Torb does provide a whole lot of value, but it just hurts me a little bit that Mei was so huge on Nepal. I would love to see that Mei one more time, because really they're going to need everything they can to slow down Tailwind from getting into this objective.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely massive here for shutting them down, right? Tailwind are going to come in guns blazing. They're going to be throwing Symmetra turrets down on point. They're going to be walling it off. And you have to be ready for that blitz. And Catatrix coming in on the Brigitte is a great way to deal with that. Just go full on, brawl on the point, throw the Ash, throw the Torbjorn, throw a ton of damage at their face and say, you know what? Deal with it. And we'll see if Tailwind can here as they look to TP up to the high ground. Javis already finds an early pick. Tailwind just going to back off. Just going to back off. That's definitely the smart move here.
Yep, that was just a beautiful shot right there. Those Torb rivets just do a whole heck of a lot of damage, especially if they hit that dome from so far away. So it looks like they're actually going to opt on over to they're going to try to run that strat once again, and oh, they were able to pull it off.
They are going to be able to pull it off, wrapping their way around the point now, trying to take control of the high ground is a great opportunity, right? Use that Symmetra now. They can get a bit cheeky. They have another teleporter. The question is, do they want to use it? Do they want to go anywhere? Or do they just want to push on? But if they're going to push on, I suggest doing it soon. You're just running time down off this clock, waiting for your main tank to come back. Of course, Shui Li waiting outside the door, needs to get some sort of ticket in. Just going to walk his way all the way around. You know what? That's a fine way of doing things. Just regroup right with the team. And it seems like Kalibur more than willing to let him. Still controlling this high ground, though. We do see Bray alongside Catatrix. Catatrix so booped up onto the high ground. So difficult to get down from there, actually. For once, having the high ground, not going to be an advantageous position, but now Tailwind can wrap around. Look to use that Symmetra. Look to use the Mei to brawl out on this point. Do they have the damage? Though they've already wasted so much time just sitting here. Any Dynamite, any anti-nade is going to be massive on top of them. Swaley pushed through, takes a ton of damage. The nano picked up, though. Grenadic Flux big from Bray. Bray now using that to get onto the flank. A massive move here. Now taking the distraction away from the Ana. We see Kalibur begin to pull this fight back. It was a great start for Tailwind, but even better play from Kalibur, wrapping their way all the way around.
And that might be the end of it right here. The Molten Core ends up coming up. Now Bob on the field, but I think we're going to be seeing a sleep dart here. But, oh, never mind. Mini going to come up onto Ives with that Dynamite, take them out of the fight. We're now seeing them work their way back in. Normac trying to hold on to the objective for dear life with Catatrix right now, trying to hold on, but that Gravitic Flux, I think this is going to be it.
Catatrix believes the rally's in, but she's out. Now it's Manaka's turn, and one by one they fall. Tailwind come in big, even up the score there in that last fight and take away.
Play of the game.
And Soli, of course, taking away that play of the game, those huge dynamites, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see right here that transcendent save right there as the blizzard goes down. Just ends up doling out a continued amount of damage. The only one not able to get grabbed in that blizzard right there. And look at that, 74% kill participation, 55% kill participation from Ives right there. This is ridiculous coming out from Tailwind right now.
And that's the thing though, is that match felt so much sloppier than the King of the Hill, right? Both those teams, they wanted to push on to point, they wanted to brawl. Neither of them really led each other. In fact, Tailwind really just took their sweet time, not doing anything on half the time that they spent attacking that point. It's a very different vibe from what we saw in map 1. And now as we head to King's Row, I'm wondering which version of these teams we're going to see, because I think whoever can show up the same way they did map 1 is going to be taking it away. The second we see a difference between that, it's going to be massive.
I can definitely concur with you on that. We're going to see Poggers coming back in for Tailwind this time around. It's going to be interesting to see if they have what it takes to keep it going. I mean, we're headed to Scrims Row, folks. I mean, everybody knows how to play that map. Yeah, Grandma knows how to play that map because it is just so popular. It has so many different ways to be attacked, defended. Really, what I'd love to see come out of Tailwind is just turn this whole thing on its head and run some dive. But we're going to have to wait until round 2 before we see anything like that.
Yeah, heading into Kings Row, you're right. There's not much of a way we're going to be seeing dive. We've seen a little bit of Orisa Reinhardt be played here. We've seen the Sigma Reinhardt be played here, and of course, we've seen the classic Ryan Zarya. But right before we head into this match, we're going to head to a quick break so we can get a couple technicalities fixed up real quick. And we're back. We're heading into King's Row here. Tailwind and Kalibur even at 1 game apiece. We've seen some great Overwatch tonight, but I kind of got to ask you, Captain, what have been the highlights for it, and what do you think really carries over from map to map?
Well, I think we haven't yet seen anything really carry over from map to map just yet, because both Hanamura and Nepal just seemed like two completely different playstyles from these teams. On Nepal, we saw a lot of huge brawly compositions, both Swaley and Normac coming in with fat shatters one after the other on each other. And, you know, we ended up seeing Kalibur be able to take that. But then we moved into Hanamura, and we saw a lot of patience coming out from Tailwind, really allowing Kalibur to be the ones to kind of set up when the fights were going to happen, but it was up to Tailwind to set up where those fights were going to happen. And over and over and over again, no matter which direction Kalibur took to try to get to the objective or to try to take out Tailwind before getting to the objective, they just could not shut that down over and over again. And then we saw Tailwind going on the attack, and although they ended up losing Sway Lee at the beginning of the push where they were essentially like separated for like a good minute, it was patience. We didn't see Kalibur try to take advantage of the situation, to try to, try to even send Truth in to try to get like a boop off the side, just try to get somebody out of there so that they would have to do a full reset. They were able to get Sway Lee back into the fight because they were keeping the attention of Kalibur the entire time. It was very polished, it was very precise, and Kings Row, I think we're gonna go back to the brawl, but I'm not exactly for certain.
Yeah, honestly, it's all about the tanks here, and we see Aurora lock in the Sigma again. So now we saw the Diva beforehand, right? We've seen that it struggled to give value against the Zarya. Unless you're getting ETH, unless you're getting big bombs, it's not really doing that much. The Grid of Flux offers a lot here, and playing defensively with the Sigma, he's got so much self-sustain. He's been able to stay alive for so long. That's what a lot of those fights on Nepal came down to, and it seems that Tailwind have identified that. Now as Kalibur look to move on point, it's going to be a battle of attrition here, but Ives is already cut off, completely out of position there as rotate through Hotel is fantastic out of Kalibur. They're going to find even more value with Sway Lee going down. At this point, it's just a matter of time before they take this point over.
That is true. They've really got everything that they need to get in this. Ives just not transitioning over with the rest of the team to get on the objective to hold that defense, and now they're going to come in with the stagger. I don't think they even should try to defend objective alpha right now. They're just going to go ahead and unlock, get set up for this next objective as they move into the streets.
Look, man, you just thank your lucky stars you didn't get put on that back spawn. That'd have been such a disadvantage here for Tailwind. At least they get to hold a little bit early here. Sway Lee gonna be moving up. Kalibur realize that they have to give up this ground. They've got to back up through this choke, and Tailwind want to be pushing them through it. If they can get them all the way back to there, it'll be massive for their position. Pushing and aggressive though. Sway Lee gets real jiggy with it here. Anti-nade down on the Poggers. Doesn't quite connect. Normac though gets a nano and takes down Sway Lee, asserting his dominance all over this point. Kalibur have more in their back pockets if they need it, but my god, I'll be damned if they even do.
It was so perfect right there. The Maywall came up for Poggers. They had Normac separated out from the rest of the team, but there wasn't enough damage investment to take Normac down. As soon as that wall came down, the Nano came in to save Normac, and just absolute decimation there. We're now walking in 4 minutes 30 seconds to take objective 2, and this is going to be the last fight before they do it.
Oh boy, they've got the Graviton. We mentioned those ultimates before. We see the Deadeye come out with it. The Maywall doesn't cut it off quite well, but slowly will go down for it. Shatter on top. Normac comes through. Kalibur breezing their way through point B.
That was absolutely huge right there. I almost thought that J-Vice was going to end up hurting Mini right there because Catatrix was using the speed boost to try to get the high noon around the Maywall. But they ended up using it successfully, ended up taking down that shield, so a big fat shatter could come in from Normac once again. And now they have 5 minutes 20 seconds to push into this final objective as the Blizzards come online.
Yep. However, it's going to all again be about these sound barriers. One used out from Tailwind. Kalibur holding on to theirs. They're not going to use it this fight. Looks like they're going to let Normac go down and maybe give this one up. J-Vice, Mini, wait a minute. They're clawing back in. Sway Lee can't defend his team. They're dropping like flies around him. And finally, down he goes. No amount of Discord tier tank of the season titles is going to save you from that much damage, my friend. You got to hold on here as the card approaches the end game.
And that was incredible timing right there. Just being able to pull back just a minute. Oh, but here comes the grab.
Oh, Sway Lee with shatter. They can't even touch. Kalibur do it. They don't need the sound barrier. They don't need the nano. They don't need nothing. They just grab them off the point, make their way through a nice little road trip down the streets of Kings Row 2 minutes later, and you see Kalibur sailing their way back onto a defense.
Swaley was doing an incredible job there, but just before that final fight, when we saw Normac fall in that fight, they were pretty much convinced. They were like, okay, the fight's over now, they're pulling out. And Kalibur just really smart on the plays with that shield down, ends up getting a couple of picks. J-Vice puts up the wall, separating out Swaley from the rest of the team, and really takes advantage of the thought that basically they thought that the fight was over, when really they ended up putting
the point. Sometimes you just click heads, bud.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just click heads. They just click heads. It was a beautiful wall, don't get me wrong, right? They played it team-wise, but my God. We talked about the DPS before this match. Mini and J-Vice coming and showing us that you can really tip the scales with a singular fight. That was the one fight that Tailwind had an advantage in. The one fight that they were going to claw back into the ultimate game on. And all of a sudden, that got thrown by the wayside.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about. By just believing that that was going to be a one fight for them and just letting their guard down for just a second, Mini and J-Vice took advantage of that. But now, ooh, Sully is going to be coming in with some Doomfist action.
Ooh, this is something we've seen before. Sully's Doomfist is actually ridiculously good, and I can't wait to see what he's going to be doing. Dancing around this wall right now, playing very careful as they push their way on a point. They do manage to catch out J-Vice. Now uninhibited by the Mei, they can make their way forward without fear of the Ice Demon herself. Tailwind going to be giving up a lot of space here. Kalibur are just letting them have this, though. The wall off. This thing might go over without any contesting. Finally coming back, Kalibur nearly allowed to take over, but the damage starting to add up. The Doomfist in Sully starting to look like a real menace right about now, but 2 kills down. Bray hit straight into a wall by Sully, though. Now without an off tank, this push becomes so much harder for Kalibur. Colt listens as well by Eves, keeping Sully alive, knowing that is where the carry is going to be coming from. The Elastic nearly going to be going over. Can anybody even touch?
It looks like they have one. Catatrix on there, but ends up getting punched out once again. And they put themselves in such a bad position right there. Tailwind investing everything to keep the objective protected. They ended up all falling together, and they ended up regrouping together in the spawn before Objective Alpha was captured. Kalibur trying to play it smart, trying to get J-Vice back into the fight before re-engaging, but all they ended up doing was staggering themselves, and now many of them are coming from that long spawn, and they're giving up so much space that they could have had if they would have just fought it out, died, and come back for the next fight.
Well, fought it out, die, come back for the next fight. They're going to do it anyways. The pause goes down right before a fight, no less. But let's kind of look at this fight real quick. We've got a quick moment. Why didn't you start talking to me about what ultimates are available? Because there's a few check marks up there, but some of them seem more important than others.
All right, well, we do have the Graviton online for Aurora right now, and Sully is just a hair away from getting that Meteor Strike, so we might see that combo coming in. We also have the Shattered Deadeye for Normac and Mini, with the Graviton soon to be in the pocket, and the Blizzards are making their way up. J-Vice currently sitting up at 80, with Poggers on 55. So it's really going to be up to Poggers right now. If they want to get that damage in hot and heavy, they got to click head. They got to get that Blizzard online first.
Big grab, sound barrier to counter. Mini's up. Oh, death roll from above. The high noon, higher even by the Mei wall, and they find themselves a nice victory. Good little combo of abilities.
That was the highest of noons right there. You can't get much higher without using an enemy Gravitic Flux, using that Mei wall to their advantage to be able to get over the shield of Swaley, get that quintuple kill, and grab the objective. Now they have shaved off a good amount of time to be sitting pretty, even if we end up seeing Tailwind take this all the way to the end right now.
Yeah, Tailwind has to take this full map right now that they want a chance. It starts out with Kalibur, though. This Blizzard shuts down the flank entirely, and we're going to see a little bit of Space Jam on the car here. Sully comes up big with a Meteor Strike. Nano down onto Normac. That's not going to be doing all that much, though. There's just too many members remaining. Sully's going to be focusing down this support in the back line. Manaka dies, and the respawns are going to start to come in here for Tailwind.
That is true, and now we're going to be seeing that Mei wall separating out Normac, and without anyone else to protect you, they're going to get staggered out, and it's going to be really hard to hold this objective too right here without your main tank.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but Kalibur still have an opportunity here. They don't have much in the way of ultimates to do it, but they need to push on quickly. Also going to be a little bit of trouble. Cart nearing just a couple meters away, but Kalibur are fighting back solely. Nice punch, Wei Lee. Oh my god, the hammer of justice is doing way too much here for the blue side, and they're not done fighting for this game yet.
That is true, and I gasped just a little bit right there because I don't know if J-Vice was purposefully doing that to Sway Lee or not. You saw the Maywall come up. J-Vice ends up falling incredibly low, uses the icicle, and essentially pins Sway Lee in the corner against the walls and the icicle. And Sway Lee literally can't do anything, can't go anywhere for a good 5 seconds. Unfortunately, if you don't click that head, you don't get the kill. So despite whether it was planned or not, this Graviton's gonna come in huge.
Oh, Grav, Blizzard, Salamare's ultimates everywhere. What is this? Goats right about now? Normac swinging for his life, but no help in sight from his team. J-Vice finds 1 kill for his troubles, but Tailwind continue to soar towards the end of point C.
Right now, they are sitting under a minute from what we saw come in from Kalibur. They have to grab this objective, and they gotta grab it quickly if they hope to have a chance in the next couple of rounds.
That eye for Mini. This time they're wary of it, but not wary enough for Aurora. Gets picked again by the Deadeye. Solely trades 1 back. There's still an opportunity here. Soundbarrier, Tailwind are committing to this one. They want it now. Poggers needs to be huge though, because this Blizzard is just keeping so many people off the point. Souling's big. This Doomfist. My God, we talked about it before the game. We're going to be talking about it after the game. We'll see Tailwind push us into a second round of Kings.
Almost just shaving off those ticks. 0.18 meters right now to the time.
Oh no!
Normac goes straight off the objective. Just not able to stay on there. Just really odd timed. That boop sends him right off the cliff. And that is just absolutely incredible with the changes to competitive. We are going to see now Tailwind get lowered to a 2-minute time bank, but Kalibur still sitting at 4 minutes. They're literally, they might as well just go back to round 1 at this point. Like it's just the same thing for Kalibur right now. But if we see a huge investment come in from Tailwind once again, I think that this is easily going to allow them to get to objective 2. No sweat with 2 minutes on the clock.
Well, I think the biggest thing that you can't rely on right now, if you're Tailwind, is going to be winning via ultimates, right? You don't just need to take 1 point. You need to roll the ultimates in your favor for the entirety of the map, because you're running into such a big time bank, right? You can't run things like an Nano Blade. You can't run things like an E because there's just not time, and you can't rely on a singular fight 1. So I think the Brawl is a great choice here, running Truth on the Zenyatta. A little bit interesting, but in the Discord down on Normac is going to make his life a living hell alongside the Mei. Kalibur, though, they want to brawl as well. Running the Mei Reaper, running the Lucio Moira. They're looking to get aggro. They're looking to brawl. And both of these teams are going to be clashing here in just a moment. I think the big difference makers is solely able to peel Mini off of his main tank. Is he going to be able to keep a lot of that damage away? Because it's coming, and that is a non-stop freight train of bullets here. Sway Lee backing up, gets walled off. Normac putting in so much damage. Mini as well will go down here. Sway Lee on the losing end of that one. Tailwind unable to keep up with the heat.
And that was just beautiful timing right there from those Maywalls coming out. J-Vice puts theirs up to give protection to the team, and then Poggers ends up using theirs to try to cut off their escape, but with the shields already incredibly low, it makes it so hard to continue to push in on that. We are now seeing some swaps though. Poggers bringing in the Echo for the first time this evening as Aurora swaps over to the Sigma.
There's no hit scan on the side of Kalibur to deal with it, at least no long range hit scan. For everybody who's about to say Echo or Reaper counts, absolutely not when dealing with an Echo. Kalibur come through, dish out a lot of damage, and the pressure's too much. You're playing a brawl comp, buddy. If you want to play that Echo, you got to start finding picks in the back line.
That is true, and that Coalescence just absolutely tears through Tailwind, already shaving 1 minute and 15 seconds off of the clock. We are headed essentially into final fight territory here, folks, and if Poggers can get this ultimate online, we might see some... Oh! Oh, really? Oh, there we go. I was about ready to say we're going double sky DPS with no mercy. No, that's not the way to go. But slowly going back onto that Ashe. That's going to be a good investment with the dynamite.
Oh god, Tailwind, they've got to run for their lives. The shatter in their face. Duplication down onto the Reaper. Poggers has a lot of damage to make up right now. Gets the Death Blossom up in time. Does he find anybody is the question? No! Absolutely not. The damage amounts to next to nothing here as the Echo needs to fly away. The AI trying to Cyber Bully out, but is going to be the one hacked at the end of the day.
Yeah, I have to say that maybe starting off on that Ashe would have been a better pick from the get-go. Kalibur is looking to get brawly, as we saw that entire time with the May Reaper. You're looking to get in your face. You're looking to do some damage. But if Soli would have been on that Ashe from the beginning, trying to get damage from a distance, trying to keep the enemy at bay as they pushed in, get a couple picks before you engage into that brawly composition, it probably would have worked out well for them. But now Tailwind is in such a difficult position. They have got 4 minutes and 4 seconds for a 100% complete hold of Objective Alpha. I'm not saying it's impossible, but man, the odds are just not in their favor.
A lot of momentum here heading into halftime too. That's going to be wagered up by each of these teams. You mentioned a heroic hold. You mentioned a Herculean effort that it's going to take. And my God, Tailwind, they're putting Soli back on the Doomfist. That could be the way to do it. But Kalibur, I love this approach. You play for the Qs. You play 100% for the Qs, and you win the game by the Qs. You farm EMP, you farm Blizzard, you farm Grab, you farm Death Blossom. You just go back to the brawl. Maybe you just win with what was working. They're playing me. You know how it is. You can't trust attacking teams. I wouldn't have even minded the Somber as a crazy thing, though. Kalibur only need that one tick. You know what? However they want to get is however they want to get. They go back through the hotel. You're trying to catch eyes off guard. But this time, not going to be caught off in that bad position. Maywall comes up. Oh my God. Sway Lee is dropped so low, but somehow manages to miraculously survive. Now stuck in the back line. J-Vice out ice block. Gets punched straight into the wall by Soli here. Brawl's going down on point. Neither of the main tanks dropped too low quite yet. Neither of them have Zarya bubbles, though, at this point in time. So Sway Lee is hoping to take a ton of damage from Mini. Backing away now. Tailwind need to just buy space, buy time. But Mini's up in their face. He wants to brawl. He wants to fight. He wants to take this point over for Kalibur. Soli's fighting back, though. The Doomfist is huge. The bubble's out. And he's still alive. Still a threat. It's still holding on for dear life for Tailwind.
And that is, I have to say, I was really ready for them to re-engage, but it was just a really bad timing on that Coalescence. Could have been used to keep them off the objective as they regroup right here. But we are going to see some Qs come online. The Coalescence now coming out for Manaka.
Manaka, Coalescence to engage here. Damage out. Mini still in the face of Sway Lee. Sway Lee's got a Shatter charged up, though. Ready to drop at any given point in time, but Cameron is ready for it as well. Fire Strike through Coalescence there. The Shatter doesn't land. The Brawl's out now. It's Graviton time. Normac even peels with the Graviton. And now the Death Blossom's all that there is. Blizzard on point. Everything laid on thick. We mentioned 4 minutes was going to be plenty of time, but Kalibur doing it in even less time than Tailwind had to do their attack.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate right there. And that Coalescence does so much in regards to your team. There's literally nothing that can stop it. Like, unless you stun it out, that Coalescence goes through everyone and anyone. And now we're going to see that beautiful Deadeye once again coming out from Mini, support by J-Vice Maywall right there. Just absolutely beautiful work for Kalibur, but Tailwind not out of this yet by a long shot. Can totally keep it going as we head into our break for the second half.
I mean, we talked about it. We talked about it before the game. We talked about it during the game. We talked about it after the game. The DPS tip the scales in matchups like this. Both of these main tanks are so strong. Both of these support lineups are absolutely insane. But it came down to really solid DPS play. And the biggest difference maker there I saw the entire game, Mini, time after time after time, applying so much pressure on that Reaper. And you really have to play that composition correctly, right? You have to realize your openings and take them. The second the Echo Swap came out, you can see they kicked it into high gear. Kalibur just wanted to press that go button. And that's a lot of momentum headed your way. You take away a strong map victory. You're up 2-1. And you know what? I want to see him keep running this brawl into the second half. But before we head into the second half, I kind of want to ask you, we know what we saw from Kalibur. We know what we want to see in the future. What do you want to see different from Tailwind if they want to start taking games?
I really don't think there's a lot to change, to be honest. I think the DPS just really need to be dedicated to the picks that they're going to make. When you have 2 minutes on the clock, it's really hard to pick just those one heroes that are going to come in. But now they know that Kalibur is really resting on this brawly composition, so it is going to be up to Poggers and Soli to figure out what can we do to dislodge that. Soli's Doomfist has been absolutely incredible, diving into that backline, getting pick after pick. Continuing to have Aurora on that Zarya will be incredibly helpful to make sure that Soli gets out of that alive time and again. But otherwise, I think, again, we're just at nickels and dimes here. It's just these little plays, these little changes. If Soily, waiting for that shatter just a second more for Normac's shield to go down would have been perfect. Just really kind of not getting jebaited, I guess, is maybe the word that I'm looking for then. Being that patience that we saw on Hanamura once again to really take those fights to Kalibur over and over and over again.
All right, ladies and gents, Captain Jack bringing you the analysis that you needed. Heading in here, though, to a quick 10-minute halftime. We're going to take a break, give these teams some time to get some water, some orange slice, whatever they need. I know my voice needs a rest, or at least a short one, because this match is something else. Captain Jack and I will be back with you in just a little bit. Keep your eyes on your screens and your butts to those seats. We'll be back with you shortly.
is that you're dreaming in the first place. You gotta be able to recognize it. You gotta be able to ask yourself, hey man, is this a dream?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I know Captain Jack started out the beginning of this match with a little bit of ASMR, so I figured I'd bring us right back in with it. We're seeing Tailwind and Kalibur go at it 2-1 right now in favor of Kalibur. And you know what? It's been one of the better matches I've seen in recent memory. We're going to get to see who moves on in these semifinals, though. A big matchup coming up after this one. How are you doing, Captain Jack? How's your halftime?
Door! That is not the correct response to how amazing this matchup has been so far. Come on, give me some energy.
Oh, slap me out of it. Thank you.
This has been absolutely an incredible matchup. As we noted at the beginning of this match, this is the third time that Kalibur and Tailwind have gone at each other. First seed versus fifth seed right now, going at it 2-1. Kalibur taking the lead just before the half, but these matches have been so spicy. They have been going back and forth over and over again. And as we head into the second half, our map choice, it looks like we are going to be headed to Dorado for our escort map this evening. And I gotta say, I think that this is going to work very well into Tailwind's favor. We saw that high ground advantage used a lot during their time on Hanamura, which I thought was kind of weird, but I'm just a plat player, so what do I know? I defend the door. That's what we do. But absolutely worked out for Tailwind the entire time that they were on Hanamura. Were able to hold that objective alpha. So if Tailwind takes advantage of that high ground once again and Kalibur can't meet him there, they might end up taking this map too.
Yeah, and I'm interested with this map pick.
How so? You there, buddy?
Right.
We lost you there, Door. Are you back?
You said it.
All right. It looks like we're losing Door a little bit there. Get them back into the action right there. But I have to agree that this choice coming out, I don't think was taken lightly from the side of Tailwind. I think, honestly, they're looking to use that high ground advantage, but I mean, we could be getting played on the attack, so I won't even look at that right now. But it looks like Aurora going to be coming out as that diva once again. We now have Cthulhu coming in on the May instead of Poggers. So going to be interesting to see how that changes. If we see the same amount of heads getting clicked as J-Vice has been doing, which I got to say, as a May player, that is huge. If you can anticipate that timing, that charge time of that icicle enough to click so many heads, you are working some magic. But what is this positioning right now?
We just get to watch more Overwatch. Tailwind are getting real aggro with it. The shield, the pulled pork coming out from Kalibur here, making their way down to the lower ground, realizing it's probably just a little bit of time for them to set up and try and find an early pick here. However, it's gonna be tricky getting out of spawn. We see Mini actually wrapping around the backside, gonna have a super great angle onto Aurora. Good defense matrix keeps him out of it. Sway Lee, though, in a world of hurt. Great anti-nade from Ives. But it's definitely not enough to win them that fight. Kalibur gonna hold on and fight their way out of their own spawn.
That was interesting. I've very rarely seen a spawn hold like that. Typically, if you want to do something cheeky with the Mei, you hold inside the building right outside of spawn to keep the payload from moving forward. But holding right outside the spawn door, it's just, you know, it was just not good positioning in my opinion. It really just ended up giving them a lot of free room, but they are back in for another fight with 3 minutes on the clock.
You want to talk about free room? I want to talk about free ultimate charge. Look at J-Vice already heading up towards that first Blizzard. Invulnerability field comes out from Kalibur, though. They're starting to get ground out of this fight. Good halt there, though. Buys them so much space. Pulls everybody into the Blizzard. And the damage from Mini is enough to follow up here. Great anti-nade as well on top of it. And that is going to be a quickly won fight for Kalibur.
And that is a huge combo that they should be leery at right now. The combination of J-Vice and Bray, that halt will bring everyone back into the Blizzard when they think they are just barely free. And that's exactly what we're seeing and what we're going to continue to see unless we see Tailwind change some things up.
Yeah, Tailwind have a lot to fix right now, but they have the ultimates to do it, right? If they can see that bomb shatter combination come out a little bit better. We talked about it earlier. After the first map, we wanted to see the ultimates get used more effectively. This could be a great opportunity for them to do it just with that one combo, right? The shields of Kalibur aren't the greatest for blocking these, so they just need to use them. But Soli goes in and dies immediately here before you can even press Q. Tailwind stop being proactive. They use even their sound barrier into this one. They want to win. Bombs over, perfectly placed by Aurora, finds two. Tailwind are in this to win it, but Mini is in it to just shut them down left and right.
That was a beautiful bomb right there. They waited until the Orisa shield had been taken down and already reinvested. That's the best timing to send a Diva bomb back in. But right now, Soli, I gotta say that Doomfist is not gonna work out for you without having some support with like a Zarya or something to be able to bubble you to escape. There's just too much damage around that cart, and now here comes out the Amp Matrix. Huge anti-nade in return as the Gravitic Flux comes up.
Gravitic Flux up, slams him back down though. Kalibur, I mean, win a fight before I can even start yelling about it. Truth, the man left on cart, solely trying to do something on the high ground. Will get one for his trouble, but not going to be saving this point anytime soon.
Yeah, they are just having such a rough time right now. They're going to add a minute and a half to that time bank, giving them 4 minutes, 45 seconds to take objective number 3. And right now, if they don't figure out a way to change some things up, we do have Cthulhu now changing over to the Reaper to try to delete some of that that damage, or at least return some of that damage. But, oh man, the stuns are coming in huge. They're going to have a hard time fighting.
Now with the cart through, a lot of space to be had here for Kalibur and a lot of ultimates in their back pocket. Sway Lee is gonna need the shatter that only the best main tank in Discord is gonna be able to hit. It's gotta be all 6, and it's gotta be big here, because all of these are coming in. It's gonna start off with the rally. The shatter from Sway Lee, absolutely not. Says Bray's ult. Now dropping the ball, the damage, and Mini with a massive Blossom of Death, finishing off the point. 3:50 remaining on the clock, and yet again we see Kalibur absolutely demolish and destroy Tailwind.
And I'm just kind of beside myself right now. Tailwind has been playing the entire night against Kalibur. Plus, this isn't their first match against them. They fought them twice before already, so they know what they're going to pull out. And lately, they've been going with that either the double shield, or they've been going with the Brawly, Ryan Zarya, Mei Reaper comp. Those are the two things that we've really seen them pull out over and over again. Yet I'm not seeing any sort of counter other than solely trying to play the Doomfist in the back line without any support to keep them going. Otherwise, it's showing really hard to shut down this death ball comp that they got going on. And with the double shield, it's really hard to fight through that. You got to pull out the Reaper. You got to pull out like a Junkrat, something that can delete those shields so that you can get some damage through them. Otherwise, they're just going to continue to have a hard time as they now go in on the attack.
Yeah, I think even just a little bit more attention towards Mini, it feels like they just don't realize where their team composition is getting shredded apart right now. Kalibur playing fantastically now with Catatrix. They're just playing anti-brawl. You run the Reaper, you run the Mei, you run the Brigitte. You want to stun, seek, and destroy right now. The question is, will Sway be able to keep himself alive along with that defense matrix, along with all the healing on his side? The wall misses. That's a great start here for Tailwind as they slowly make their way in. But the Brigitte already coming up big. Catches out Cthulhu with a great whip shot. Halts in, pulling everybody through Kalibur, starting their early hold off right.
And that is definitely not a good place to be right there. They are, again, we see Kalibur coming out with these really brawly, in-your-face compositions, and I gotta say, Tailwind, live up to your name. Take it to the sky. Do something a little bit further away than right in their face so that you can get a little bit of a damage advantage before they come into this. Oh, but now we're gonna see the double shield hold in the side room.
Good adaptation, but those shields will get shredded through eventually here. Stoli turns his face for a second and a shatter straight in their face. Sway Lee cannot connect with it regardless, though. And these shields, all of that sustain starting to add up here. Cthulhu finds a massive set of freezes, though it's so close to proccing them all. The shield comes up just in time. Mini takes Sully out of the sky. How even does he get up there? Manaka, everything. Oh my god! We can't see through all the damage, but Sway Lee has goggles on, X-ray vision, sees the shatter from the future, and connects it onto everybody on Kalibur.
See, I think the hardest part for Sway Lee right there is the fact that as the Pharah, you have to get down far enough to get in to that room, to shoot those rockets into that room. And I think that's how Many ended up picking them off right there, but good gracious. Sway Lee on that Rhine got 2 shatters in a row before that fight was over because of the immense amount of damage that hammer puts out.
Yeah, it's putting out a lot, but now we're back into the realm of Kalibur. Bomb is perfectly placed again by Aurora. They just can't find anything through all of these shields. Normac takes out Ives. Death Blossom in the backline. Sway Lee diligently holding his shield, but the damage from Kalibur is starting to add up, and yet again, they've done it. The Reaper just applies so much pressure yet again.
I think they're in a good spot, though, because they're in a position where they can essentially get in the sky and do a lot more damage from a distance. As far is going to be absolutely impenetrable as they head into this next point. But it looks like they're going to be swapping onto a double shield mirror of their own.
Thanks for the assist.
They're trying to rely on Sully, but that damage just hasn't been enough. You're committing a whole support to them in the air, but again, the focus still going to be on this far. Early Gravitic Flux picks up 2. Bongo on top of it, making sure that damage is nice and amped up, but the engagement not going to be coming out from Kalibur. Never mind! The support's taking him out of the sky. Truth for the res, no! Denied! Now Tailwind sent back to spawn where they came from with 50 seconds remaining on the clock.
I mean, if anyone says that Batiste is not a glorified Soldier 76, I would say that you're probably wrong right there. If you've got someone with some really good sight lines and skill to be able to play that Baptiste, you are going to be able to shoot just about every other hero out of the air like you would see any hit scan character doing. And that's what we're seeing coming out from Manaka right now.
Yeah, but the ultimate's looking real nice for Tailwind. They've got the Blizzard, they've got the Barrage. All they need to do is connect and use it before J-Vice gets his up. That's going to be massive as far as timing goes. They need to take this fight, and they need to take it quickly here. Be proactive. There it is. The Blizzard thrown in. No eat for Normac, but nobody caught out by the Blizzard either. The cart's going to continue forward. J-Vice charges way up. Amplification Matrix almost certainly going to be buying enough time for that, solely. The Barrage could shut it down, but only manages to find one. Now it's the other team's Blizzard. Tailwind can't make their way out nearly in time. Totally gets right back up. Picked out of the skies, but he just can't find the damage through.
It is definitely a hard position to be in right now. Manaka taking down Soli once again as they continue to fight it out. Coalescence coming out from Ives, trying to hold everything together, but there's just too much on this point. Mini coming back in as the Doomfist gets the uppercut as the Gravitic Flux makes it a Sigma 9, grabbing the objective. Kalibur going to take a strong lead here on Dorado, making it 3-1 in our series this evening.
You know what's terrifying, Jack? That was Tailwind's map pick.
Yep. I know exactly what you're saying, and I'm just really surprised in the way that Tailwind ended up playing that out. You know, I don't know, they just kind of gave up a whole lot on that attack the first time. You know, going to try to hold them in the spawn doors without using that side room that provides a lot more protection than just being right next to the spawn door where you can get, I don't know, snuck up behind by many and just completely demacked and taken out for the rest of your team. Totally something that happens, right? But then over and over again, Tailwind just, I don't know if the wind's just out of their sail or what. They just had
They
such a
got their
hard
wings split,
time.
man.
My
Yeah, it does
God.
not look
Wind
very
knocked
good for
out
them
of
so
them,
far.
whichever pun you want to use there. Just something
It's
after
nice. You get
halftime.
bird, air, and wind-based puns to use.
Yes.
And now we're heading on to Ilios, where the windmills are plenty prevalent.
Definitely. And we might be able to see Tailwind bring it back. I would love to see some dive action on this map. Although if Kalibur continues to run that brawly composition, it's going to be really difficult for that to be effective. I feel like having Soli and Ives on that Far Mercy is huge. It can give so much value. But when we look at that barrage at the end of that last fight, it was so far away. Like it was literally far away from the rest of the objective. Like they saw it coming a mile away. As Zafara, you either want to do one of two things. You want to get either right on top of the enemy. I know that they did have Normac on that Sigma, so you could end up just getting a shield to the face, but you would definitely get more guarantee of a kill if you were closer to them than just trying to shoot the barrage and hope all the rockets hit one person enough to take them down from far away. It just did not work out for them. You know, maybe even going over to a brawly comp like Kalibur as well might be effective, but Tailwind has just not been showing, at least in the most recent maps, that their coordination to be able to take down Kalibur like that has been on point.
I mean, you talk about the coordination not being on point to take him down, but a lot of it comes down, it's not just coordination. They have no answer for the composition, right? The Reaper of Mini, he hasn't swapped heroes in like, what, 2-3 maps of just pure demolition, pure damage, pellets flying and bodies dropping, and he hasn't stopped a single bit here. We're going to head on to Ilios, another control point, a perfect place to be playing the Reaper, and I don't suspect he's going to be doing anything different. Tailwind, do you want a different look from them? Do you just want more coordination like you were talking about? Do you want maybe another hero swap? The Pharah clearly wasn't the answer.
I mean, looking in the chat right now, everyone's just saying that just put Poggers in and it's a win, Forehead. So that may be the case. I felt like Cthulhu was doing a really good job on the Mei. It's just really difficult when you're not coordinating your focused attack. If you have the Mei focusing on taking down the Reaper, but no one else is helping out the Mei, well, then the Reaper's going to get the Mei. That's what's going to happen. If you're not taking down the Mei that's fighting you, everyone's going to get frozen out. So I think maybe Tailwind just needs to do more focused damage. Maybe I'm not for certain what the answer is to this.
Hear me out. Soli Widow. It's the perfect map. Ilios Ruins.
It's Widow's
Run
playground.
it, you coward! Dive though. This is a different look.
We're getting dive from both sides, actually. And we're going to see Echo from both sides this time around. J-Vice and Poggers looking to opt onto that. And see, that's one of the things that I think could have helped them out is we had Catatrix on that brig, that entire fight on Dorado. Having Ives on that brig to counter Mini with just a stun or two probably could have turned the tides a little bit in certain fights.
That it could have, but as we see the modern dive come out, the Winston ball echo, my god, if that isn't 2020 Overwatch, I don't know what is here. Making the way around the point, deciding who's going to be diving and counter diving is a big question though. Does Tailwind want to play defensive, or do they want to get aggressive with it? Either way, I think it's up to them to make the decision. All the weight is on them. This is match point, ladies and gentlemen. They got to take away this Ilios if they want to win. Dive out. It's huge from Aurora. Massive damage down onto Normac. I'll tell you what, that'll take out a tank instantly.
That it was beautiful timing too, just waiting for Normac to dive into that side position, comes in with the boop, knows they don't have the leap, and takes them out. This is some beautiful coordination. The one thing that's got me a little off is that we have Briggs against Dive without a Lucio to kind of speed boost people in and out as well, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, it's sort of brawly dive, like both of these compositions, except that they're going to be diving, but Tailwind want to look for a counter dive. They want to look to live. They want to look to effectively brawl on high grounds, on side lanes, and Kalibur are doing the exact same thing, but their DPS are popping off. J-Vice on the Echo? Never seen that one before, but Mini's Tracer seems just as good as his Reaper right about now.
That is showing up a huge right now. Solely coming back into the objective, ends up getting Discord and taken down by J-Vice as they grab the objective once again. 37% for the side of Tailwind. They've given themselves a nice pocket, but now they've got to push back into this, and they got to push effectively. They have some ultimates online. Let's see if they can land something.
See if they can. Tailwind in their way up. Soli's pulse bomb lying away, doesn't want to get eaten, does want to chuck these mines onto the point. Tailwind just positioning correctly here. Kalibur's trying to wrap their way around though, and Ives in a lot of trouble. Swaley though gets one on the back end, takes down Manaka. Support for support we're gonna see, but J-Vice coming back onto point, playing that Brigitte, has it duplicated over, so they're gonna have a rally in their back pocket, but Kalibur slowly grinding this one away. J-Vice gets off the rally, a little bit of bonus armor thrown their way, but Swaley's still out of the main tank. Bomb over. Oh, a lot of trouble here, but barely slips away with his life. The monkey lives for Tailwind in this fight. Brawly as hell, but you gotta remember the point still belongs to Kalibur.
That J-Vice on the Brig, that was an interesting pick. I did not expect that one, but it worked out incredibly well. They stunned out Poggers as they were moving their way back into the objective, and the rally was up to help out the rest of their team. I mean, I guess the good part about being an Echo is
oh god, it's Poggers' turn though.
Now we got Briggs on both sides again.
Poggers gonna be playing a little bit of Brigitte to get the rally off here for the rest of this team. Ives even gonna be doubling down on that one. The point getting to take over the way of Tailwind, but won't continue to. If they've got to counter the dive from Kalibur, finally finding that pick out of the sky. J-Vice has been such a thorn in their side, but now Normac goes. Bray the next one to fall. One by one, Kalibur go, but Tailwind have already given up a massive percentage.
That is true, but as long as they can hold it out, they can bring it right back once again. They're going to lock them out at 93%. So all they have to do now is set themselves up in a way that they're not easily diveable and that they can counter dive just as effectively. Being on that high ground was a little interesting because they were essentially visible to whoever was coming out from the side of Kalibur. They were able to get in, dive on that, and it was super effective. But now it looks like, man, Manaka with the first pick onto Soli in their backline.
Well, that goes to show what a good Zenyatta's gonna do for you. Transcendence as well to keep him alive. Can't keep Mini up though. Truth and Sway League down here for Tailwind. Getting a little bit dicey. They're gonna drop the mines on point, try and peel by a little bit of time, but Kalibur are ever present on this point. Gonna continue to just dish out the damage. Tailwind have to give it away and try to just not throw this game away at 93%.
All right. Ooh, that's a fat pulse bomb coming in from Soli right there, but the objective has traded back over to the side of Kalibur. This primal has to be huge.
It does. The question is Aurora able to stay alive to even just get it in there? Soli dishing out a lot of damage. Great anti-nade down onto the Winston of Kalibur, and pulse bomb as well. Ives out of the way. Truth staying alive. Aurora keeping the point diligently, doing their job, but Normac is just such a threat to bomb over. This has got to be it. Captain Jack overtime halfway down. No, Soli gets back in. Aurora's there. Soli's starting to regroup. Tailwind might be able to do this damage there. J-Vice starting to work his way up towards those mines from the duplicate. Bray finds one down on Soli. It's a lot of the damage, got a lot of that kill potential. It's all up to Poggers, but they C9 off.
See, I can't even say that it was a C9 because you're essentially walking into a death trap on that objective. They just were not able to get the picks that they were looking for, and I almost feel like if Swaley would have just waited like another second or two for the rest of the team to get grouped up with them before diving in with that primal rage, they might have been sitting pretty and taking that objective back. But we are headed to Boop Central, the Elios well, and it looks like we're going to see Tailwind go back to that traditional comp once again. The Orisa Sigma for this fight could be good. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing any hog on frickin' well.
I don't mind this look. The halts are going to be big. The double shield is going to be relatively strong. Solely back on this far. Going to be perfectly set to deal with this dive, but already set up. Kalibur going to be splitting this team right on in half. Catastrix in on the Brigitte, and this is how it starts to fall apart for Tailwind every single time, it seems, before the point even unlocks. Kalibur have eliminated all 6 members of Tailwind.
And that is just showing how strong Kalibur is. They're just as effective on the dive as they are on their brawl composition. It just works out so incredibly well for them. We're already seeing swaps for the side of Tailwind. Aurora going on that hog. Solely on the Reaper. Poggers on the Torb? Question mark? Interesting pick for that. But hey, if they can make it work, that's what they'll need to take this objective.
Yeah, Poggers on the Torb is a pretty good anti-dive tool. It's effectively a smaller Reaper with a little bit more damage to the turret to back it up. So don't mind the swap here. If they can get themselves set up on point, it'll be huge. They've already found a pick down on the Bray. The Diva now taking off the high ground with a lot of the weight off their shoulders. All they need you to do is avoid getting destroyed by J-Vice here. Pushes in on the Brigitte. They should just be able to take him out. But no, the pulse bomb from Mini finds 2.
I'm starting to feel like Minnie is not just a name. I almost imagine Minnie to be like Ant-Man, just squeezing into those tight spaces, doing a whole bunch of damage, and then getting the heck out of there. That's, again, multiple pulse bombs have come up huge for Minnie, showing that you can be just as strong on a Tracer as you can on a Reaper. They're coming in for their next push. We could be headed into final fight territory, folks.
Oh my god, Swaley's already dead here. Tailwind can feel the life leaving their bodies right about now. With 80% takes over the point, they need a miracle now. Going to be using that rally to keep him alive up against the primal rage of Normac, but there is so many ultimates in the back pockets of Kalibur. Roar finds a pick down on a Bray, though. It's going to be a pretty good start. Taking down one of the tanks is going to start to shut down that dive. Whole hog on point, signs the other one. They can start to work with this. Now we're cooking with oil.
They might be able to make it happen, but J-Vice
oh my
now coming
god
in on that brig too.
They've done it again on the Tracer. A massive pulse bomb turns the tides back in the favor of Kalibur. 99% Tailwind. This is it. It's do or die. Get your Reaper in. Get solely dealing damage, or else we're gonna see you out of playoffs. A one-way ticket back to the losers, and Kalibur are gonna be winning this one 4-1. It was a close map one, but ever since, they have been in the driver's seat, running left and right. Team compositions change, but my god, the gameplay feels the same. Kalibur take away map after map after map with some of the most impressive Overwatch I've seen.
And that was absolutely huge. And continuing to choose to go on the brig, it is a beautiful play from J-Vice. Just, again, showing that the picks that we don't normally see can be just as strong as any type of huge brawly composition. Tailwind, I'm sorry to see you go, but you did an incredible job tonight. I'm not for certain what happened there in the second half. You were doing so good. They were such close matches in that first half, and then it just seemed like they fell out of it, fell out of the sky as Kalibur shot him right down. It's unfortunate, but let's go ahead and throw it to an MVP for this evening. Who would you give it to, Dor?
All right, you mentioned Tailwind after that half. They had a couple problems. To me, I think they had one problem, and that problem's name is Mini, my MVP for the match here. What a player! Oh my god, the Reaper, the Tracer, he only really had to show us 2 heroes, but he was the bane of Tailwind's existence and such a great DPS. And I'll harken back to it, because you know what? As casters, we deserve to be right every once in a while. Beginning of the match, we said the DPS would make the difference. The DPS, oh my god, did they make a difference? That guy farmed like 3 pulse bombs in 2 fights.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely huge, and I'm gonna have to throw it to their second half J-Vice on the DPS for Kalibur. Just amazing plays over and over again. That May play, oh man, was I in love. Anyone that can play the Ice Queen so effectively to put icicles between eyes and farm those blizzards up over and over again so effectively. J-Vice, you're walking away with my MVP for the evening. Looking into our schedule for the upcoming week, we have such incredible matches coming up. As for tomorrow evening, we have 4th seed Uncommitted versus 9th seed Rebellion in the Transcendence semifinals. And then next week, we are going to see our last 2 finals of the season. We're going to start off in the Transcendence tier with whoever ends up winning in tomorrow's match against 3rd seed Second Chance. And then our last match of the season is literally between the top 2 of the Discord tier, Kalibur versus Airstrike. Be sure not to miss it, and you don't even have to worry about me giving you that schedule as long as you hit that heart or punch that bell or sub with Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime or $4.99. You get some amazing emotes, you support this community, and you are able to get notified to tune in to some super awesome Overwatch action.
You know, I heard priming to Tranquility makes you a certifiable cool dude.
Ooh, well, if it's from Door, it's true. I mean, come on.
Must be.
Come on, folks.
All right, ladies and gents, that's all the Overwatch we've got for you tonight. Of course, producing for us, the wonderful Juke, doing a fantastic job. I was watching the camera work. He's been doing some amazing stuff working on that lately. I've been joined by Captain Jack. Thank you so much for being with me. But from the entire Tranquility production team, Captain Jack and I, thank you so much for watching. I've been Door, and I'll see you guys next time.
just constant, absolute terror. And I can't explain how intense, how strong, how all-encompassing that terror is. Unless you do this, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna die.